Harlem Globetrotters, when they started, they weren't just running around being fools on the court. You know, how that actually started, they started as a barnstorming team where they would go to town to town to town and play the best players. And as they were beating them, that's actually what kind of started them playing around, because they were running the scores up so much that people got kind of bored. So that's what started doing the tricks, on the court. I want them to understand that because these ball players, I'm talking about all Americans. I mean, you can go in the history books, and when you get the book, you can kind of see, you can pull these names up. I'm talking about all Americans from LIU, all Americans from Indiana, all Americans from all over. They were the black ball players, and these were the ball players that Abe Stabenstein, the owner of the Trotters, would go around and grab all the best ball players, because they knew that they couldn't play any place. He knew they couldn't play any place else. So I want them to understand that. I want people to understand that the Harlem Globetrotters played double headers because people weren't going to the NBA games. It started off where the Harlem Globetrotters would play the first game to draw the crowd for the NBA. Right. But what was happening is that the crowd would come, see the Harlem Globetrotters, and when the time the NBA started to play, everyone would leave. So they had to change it around. So now the Harlem Globetrotters would play the second game. So it would be the NBA game would be the headliner, and then the Harlem Globetrotters would play second. So that's how the NBA really exactly because the NBA nobody was coming to see those guys play.
Now, did you know all this before you started this research? Tell the truth.
I had no idea. I had no idea whatsoever. Like I said, I started off by just really trying to help my dad get something I think he deserved, and come to find out, and talking to him and having access to his friends, some of the former Trotters, that gave me this information that, I had no idea existed.
I don't want you to give it away, but is the outcome a result of what you did for your dad in this book?
I think it is. I think just having the history out overall, and having the history that I kind of put in place. I mean, the other thing I wanted to get out with the book is that my father was put on a straight course of playing basketball. One of the things I did, in doing the research for my father said, I never went to class. And we hear that all the time, that, players, don't go to class and that kind of thing. But when I pulled my father's transcript, from the University of Portland. Actually, my father went from 11th grade to the University of Portland. I still don't know how that happened, but so I mean, I've heard about academics, but I've never heard of sports being pulled into we're talking about a 4-year major university, and we're talking about a university that just wasn't a small-time university. This school, the University of Portland at that time, had just started.
And what year was this?
This was 1951. That my father went in, and actually what happened is he was there, and when I got my father's transcript, and I actually put in the book where you see where they literally erased his grades, they crossed out his grades. I mean, when I got the transcript, I couldn't believe it. I said, if I take this transcript to anybody, they would call any campus security to tell me to get out of there. Right. So. Wow. They put him on a straight course of just playing basketball when they knew that he played, and that's what he said. He said, when they found out I could play basketball, they didn't want me to learn. They just wanted me to earn money for them. And it happened high school. They had to change the venue, the same thing they did with LeBron. They had to change the venues to play. In college, the same thing. They start beating all the major universities. And what people fail to realize and understand, when these games occur, hot dogs are being sold, sodas are being sold, programs are being sold, ticket to get into the game. Where's all that money going? That's why another thing is what I did with the book is that I tell people, if you go to school, if you're there on scholarship and you're playing sports, the only way you win unless you finish, because if you leave, you don't get your education, you don't get your degree. So that was another key, because my father came back. He broke all kinds of records in the University of Portland. Later on in his life, he came back. And actually, what happened is in his 3rd year playing at the University of Portland, the Trotters representative came to him, and that's what was going on. They were going to get all the best black ball players, and they came to him and they laid $700 out in $1 bills on the bed, and they said, leave school and come sign with us. And that's actually what he did. And my father said, you know, that was the most money he had ever seen in his life. But that was one of Abe's tricks. He would give you a bunch of $1 bills and think it was a lot of money. And here we have a young kid who was one of the first blacks in North Hollywood High, just even that particular area. And coming from that background and seeing all this money, like I said, he signed immediately and he went off. But he never got his degree. So now later on in life, when he goes back to try to get a coaching job, they say, hey, you don't have your degree. Wow. So it's one of those situations. So there's a history I wanted to show with the book. I wanted to show, you know, that who the Trotters were. Right. I wanted to show the history of the Trotters. I wanted to show the history of, you know, black ball players overall.
Right. Well, I have taken a look at this book, and I encourage you all to get this book in schools. I want him to give you all the website. What's that website?
The website is www.basketballslave.com.
I learned a whole lot. My brain is in an overflow right now, and that's it. So check it out, you guys. It's called Basketball Slave. Know your history, okay? Know what's up. Know what's going on. Don't just be out there playing basketball. You don't know nothing. All right, y'all know who it is. Sarah Valentine. Mwah.
Free, set the